Mobile Suit Gundam side story 0079 Rise from the Ashes is a game where you play in the wildlands of the scariest place in the world, Australia. A land where you never know what you'll be attacked from bipedal robots to giant tank robots. Maybe even some virus-carrying flying things. This game, despite being from right before the turn of the century, still shows us Australia is a really scary place. Rise from the Ashes puts you in the shoes of Master Pierce Rayer. Wait, his name is Master? Like Master Asia? Right, and his squad known as the White Dingo Squadron, because of Australia. The other members of his squad being Leung, Li, Phi, Maximilian Berger, and Anita Julianne. Nice choice of names there. White Dingo, along with fellow Australian squads Green Echidna, Yellow Quokka, and Red Possum, set out to the barren lands of Australia to free it from Zionic control. As if being in Australia wasn't horrifying enough, this game was for the Dreamcast. But wait, that's not the scary part. The scary part is, the Dreamcast has one thumbstick, and this is a first-person shooter. Movement is not done with the thumbstick, but rather the D-pad, where the head movement is done with the analog stick. Face buttons are used for actions like shooting, where the triggers are for defending and jumping. So these backwards controls suit the setting quite well, even though for the time controls like this weren't weird. What is this game even? I see robots. This game is a mecha game, my favorite genre of whatever the fuck it is. Mostly filled with trash, but sometimes you get some good stuff. This is a more grounded Gundam game compared to the more recent titles, and it's a remake. You have some pretty slow movement, especially with turning, making you feel like you're in a giant hunk of shit. Speaking of hunk of shit, the mecha, or mobile suit selection for this game is fucking awful. You have two mobile suits to choose from, the RGM-79, also known as the GM, a mass-produced piece of shit that you see die on multiple occasions, and the RGC-80, the cannon variant, the one that has a cannon on its shoulder, and also seen to die in Zeta Gundam. The game lets you feel like you're in a walking piece of shit. There are two other suits, but I'll get into those ones later. The weapon choice for this game is pretty much two weapons, and then locking the rest till you beat the game. The machine gun, which is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen used in a video game in a long time, and a rocket launcher, which you need to shoot like 5 million times to kill someone. You do have other options like your built-in weapons for the suits, head-mounted Vulcans for shooting literal spitballs at enemies, not worth using unless you shoot at like something 500 times smaller than you, a beam saber if the melee didn't blow ass and you actually had reach, it could be good. And then lastly, the suit's unique weapon. The RGM has a hand grenade, which isn't very good, and the RGC, it has a shoulder-mounted cannon, making you stand still while you use it. You get to choose which of the two main weapons you want to use for the RGM-79 only. The cannon variant only gets the piddly piss shooter. You also get to choose a shield, but the shield barely matters. So you start your game and you're greeted with a bunch of shit, akin to Ace Combat and Armored Core, briefing room stuff, your hangar, and some other stuff that just doesn't matter. You get a briefing before each mission, and then you go straight into your hangar and you choose the RGM with the rocket launcher every single time, because it staggers the enemy, unlike the machine gun. Then you go out into your mission into the wild wastes of the possibly radioactive Australia. Mission structure is as such. Kill everything. You're given optional objectives here and there, but your main objective is everyone dies. The side objectives slightly influence how the story is told in the end mission cutscenes. One will grant you the optional suit you can get, the RX-77D. Gun cannon. If you've watched Gundam before, you might be thinking, oh wow, I can pilot the gun cannon? That thing's pretty powerful. Wrong. This thing's the mass-produced version. No beam rifle, but instead 2 piss shooters. It sports no beam saber, but it does get its shoulder-mounted cannons that run out of ammo and can't reload. Gameplay in it is your standard FPS, where you aim at things and shoot. There's a little more to it though, as you're the leader of a squad, so every once in a while you interrupt game flow by pausing and telling your teammates to move to a position, guard a thing, or attack. There is also a little hover car, like the one in the 8th MS team, that'll do sonar scans for you. There are 9 missions in this game, mostly putting you in a desert, a city, a ruined city, or more desert. There are optional missions in about a half of them, but only one giving you an actual reward. The 3rd mission gives you access to a prototype beam rifle, but then you finish the mission and they just take it away from you, and then lock it behind NG+. Much like the poor mobile suit selection you get, the enemy is no different, mostly relying on the Zaku 2 and a Zaku 2 variant, which is unsurprising. Some of the stronger suits do show up down the line, like the Dome. Wait, Dome?
4 knives. Rothead, you take care of them. Grey Eye, I'm trying to hack the door.
Roger that, sir. Those Spetty suits are no match for one of our domes. Why don't we have a little fun with them, huh? What do we got to lose?
Don't get too cocky, it'll just trip you up.
To truly appreciate this game, you generally need to know the story of 0079, the One-Year War, and Operation British. They give you a short rundown in the intro cutscene, but I'll try to summarize it as best as possible. Once upon a time, space people, more specifically Zeon, wanted independence from Earth, because Earth people were a bunch of jerks. A faction inside Zeon murdered the leader of Zeon and became the leader of Zeon. Okay, well, they weren't called Zeon at first. It was after the murder, but the point stands. They then produce a new weapon called mobile suits, giant robots, and wage war against Earth for independence. They then murder a bunch of people inside a space colony and drop it onto Earth, aiming for the Earth Federation's headquarters. The Federation does their best to stop it, but are unable to, and it falls onto Australia, wiping out Sydney and a chunk of the continent off the map. Zeon, unsatisfied with killing millions of people, easily decide, hey, let's drop another colony onto Earth, and the Battle of Loom begins. The Federation do their darndest to stop them, but this time, armed with nuclear weapons, Zeon fucks up more shit for everyone. More people die, but the Federation manages to stop the colony from falling. The Antarctic Treaty is then signed saying, please stop trying to drop colonies, and stop nuking everything, you fucking dicks. And that was after 1 week, leaving a third of humanity dead. Right, let's fast forward through a lot of this, because this is actually really long. Zeon dropped onto Earth, and established a bunch of bases everywhere, even in Australia. But they ended up spreading themselves pretty thin. No one really knew that, till a general that was captured was like, hey yo, Zeon's fucked. Let's fuck him up. And the Federation grew some balls and went for broke. Then it happened. The Federation created actual monsters, the V Project. Then the anime starts. With that project came the Federation, building their own mobile suits to rival that of Zeon. Operation Odessa happens, and the Federation fucks up Zeon pretty bad on Earth, so most of them just fuck off. About 11 months since the war's start, this game takes place. You and your squad are now tasked with running Zeon off. We're in the middle of creating another fucking weapon of mass destruction, really? I mean, the weapon isn't super terrible, they just want to carpet bomb the Earth with some magic pixie dust. That'll make all the forests grow and you have to stop them. So you end up doing that, and your squad takes place in history. With the white dingo colored RGM-79S, the sniper variant of the GM, that you receive on the last mission, with no sniper rifle. There's not even a sniper rifle in the game. Is the game good? Not really. It has this Ace Combat 5 feel with the whole squad and a war drama, but worse, mostly because of the lack of mobile suits, the lack of weapon choice, the game being like 40 minutes long. It is a part of the side story series of games, though, which should have all just been bundled together. That did get later bundled together in a remake that wasn't as good. This is a fan favorite of a few people, though. When you get used to the strange old controls and try to avoid melee combat, get some of the NG plus weapons like the beam rifle, lay out some Zeeks like they're nothing, it feels pretty good. Kinda like what Crossfire should have been. Would I recommend it, though? To a Gundam fan, yes. To the average person playing games, no. It lacks content, it didn't age too well. If you are interested in the White Dingo's GM Sniper, though, you can check out Gundam Versus. They did add it there. Or even the Side Stories compilation games. It features one of my favorite mobile suits, the Pale Rider. It's not the best Gundam game for its time, but it's certainly not the worst. If you haven't played Federation vs. Zeon, it's a much better game with a better quote-unquote campaign. You do feel like you're kinda like the 8th MS team in this game, though. You don't really get that squad dynamic. Like I said, a Gundam fan might enjoy it, just due to where it takes place in the overarching story of all of Gundam. The average players will just see flaws. Mecha should stop bullying Australia. They didn't do anything wrong. I know spiders and snakes are scary, but I don't think they should be wiped off the map. Please, go to your local congressman. Tell them, no more bullying Australia.